You washed him Saturday. A good bath, warm water, soap worked all the way down to the skin, toweled him off, and for about an hour he smelled like a clean dog. Then Sunday evening you come in off the porch and there it is again, that heavy low smell hanging in the room, and you look over at him lying by the couch and you think, I just washed you. How are you already ripe again? If you have had a dog do that to you, washed, and the smell keeps coming back like the tide, sit down a minute, because I can save you a good bit of money and a good bit of worry tonight. I am Steven. I keep dogs up a holler in Madison County, back in the Blue Ridge Mountains of western North Carolina, and I have kept them my whole life the way my granddad kept them, which is cheap and plain and mostly with good sense, instead of a shelf full of bottles. That is my old boy Bear over there by the stove, 12 years old and stiff in the hips, sleeps about 20 hours a day, and Bear does not stink. I will tell you exactly why he does not, and how to get your dog there too. And I will tell you the parts a man selling you something never will. What does not work, and why. And the 2 or 3 smells that are not a home job at all, the ones that mean you get in the truck and go see a real animal doctor, because knowing that line is the whole skill. Pretending a serious thing is a small thing is the one way a talk like this can actually hurt a dog, and I will not do that to you. So here it is. That smell that comes creeping back after a bath is not dirt. You did not miss a spot. You are not a bad washer. Dirt comes off in the tub and stays off. What you are smelling is yeast and bacteria living on your dog's skin and down in a few warm hidden folds of him, and they march right back after a bath because the bath never touched what feeds them. So the fix comes in 2 halves, and I will give you both tonight. The first half is quick relief, the right kind of wash, and the few spots you clean out this week, and it knocks the smell down in a matter of days. The second half is the real one, the half that ends it instead of chasing it, and that is a change to what goes in his bowl, because that is where most of this smell is truly coming from. Nobody sells you that second half, and I will get to why. Both halves are cheap. Let me walk you through it. First, let me clear away the things you have probably already tried or been told to try, because most of them are why the smell keeps beating you. The big one is more bathing, the natural thing to reach for. He stinks, so you wash him, and when it comes back, you wash him again twice a week, maybe more. Here is the trouble with that. A dog's skin has its own coat of natural oil on it, and that oil is part of how his skin defends itself and stays balanced. When you scrub him down every few days with a strong soap, you strip that oil clean off. His skin, being no fool, panics and pumps out extra oil to make up for it, and that heavy new oil is exactly what the yeast loves to feed on. So you wash him to fight the smell, and the washing itself feeds the next batch of smell. You are rowing hard in the wrong direction. Most stinky dogs are being bathed too often, not too little. The next thing folks reach for is the perfume shelf. The pet aisle has a whole wall of it now. Deodorizing sprays, cologne for dogs, a spritz that smells like a lavender field, wipes that promise fresh between baths, $40 for a bottle of shampoo with a French word on it. And here is exactly what all of that does. It lays a nice smell on top of the bad smell for an afternoon, and by supper the bad smell has soaked right back up through it, and now your dog smells like a swamp wearing perfume. A mask was never a fix. You cannot spray your way out of a thing that is growing. You are just paying every month to cover it up instead of paying nothing to end it. And there is one more on that shelf you need to be careful with, because this one can actually do harm. A lot of the natural sprays and the homemade recipes floating around lean on essential oils, and tea tree oil especially. It gets talked about like it is a gentle plant thing, but on a dog it is not gentle at all. The poison folks are plain about it. Pet products with less than 1 or 2% tea tree oil are generally considered safe when you follow the label, but the concentrated oil, the little brown bottle straight, is toxic to a dog. Even a few concentrated drops on his skin or licked off can cause real poisoning, the drooling, the wobbling, the shaking, trouble with his liver. So please do not go dabbing straight essential oils on a stinky dog, and be careful with the homemade blends that call for them. The thing that actually works costs a couple of dollars and is perfectly safe, no essential oils, nothing to worry about. One more quick, because it is close cousin to the perfume, the flavored dental stick and the sugary treat handed over to sweeten his breath. Those are mostly starch, and starch turns to sugar inside the dog, and sugar is exactly what this smell feeds on. So a sweet chew aimed at his breath is quietly working against you. Now, what is actually going on down on that dog? Because once you see it, the whole thing makes plain sense. Yeast lives on every dog there is, all the time, bear included, your dog included. A little of it is normal, and it just sits there quiet and causes no trouble. The smell starts when that little bit of yeast gets an invitation to bloom into a lot of yeast, and it takes that invitation two ways. It blooms where it is warm and damp, and it blooms when it is being fed. Think of a damp corner in a cellar, a cool spot that never quite dries out, and before long there is that musty mildew growing in it, and no amount of wiping the shelf clears it because the corner is still damp. Dry it out, and the mildew has nowhere to grow, and the smell leaves on its own. Your dog has corners like that on him. The insides of his ears, the folds under his neck and armpits, the creases at the base of his tail, his groin, and between his toes. Those spots stay warm and hold moisture, and after a bath, if you let him drip dry, they stay damp for hours. That is where the smell factory sets up. And here is the second half, the feeding, and this runs deeper than most folks ever hear. Yeast feeds on sugar. Now you are thinking, I do not give my dog candy. No, but a whole lot of dog food is packed with starch, corn and wheat and rice and potato ground up to hold a dry nugget together, and starch is just sugar wearing a coat. To the dog's body, it comes apart into sugar. So a dog living on a heavy, starchy, cheap food is being fed from the inside in a way that keeps that yeast blooming no matter how often you wash the outside. That is the piece nobody tells you at the register. Half of that smell is not sitting on him at all. It is rising up out of the bowl. Let me tell you a thing, because I do not want this to sound like something I read off a chart. My granddad, I called him Papa, kept coonhounds and a couple of farm dogs my whole growing up, and those dogs lived rough, out in the weather, in the barn lot, and they did not stink. Not the deep way I am talking about. He had an old red hound named Drum, and Drum would get soaked in a summer storm and roll in God knows what. And sure, that day he smelled like a wet dog and a bad decision. But that came off. He never carried that heavy, sour, comes back every day smell. It took me half my life to work out why. Papa fed those dogs off what the family ate, meat and scraps and bone, not a sack of ground corn. And when a dog came in wet, he got rubbed down by the stove till he was dry to the skin. Papa never once bought a bottle of dog cologne. He would have thought you had lost your mind. He kept the corners dry and the bowl clean, and the smell just never had a place to live. So that is what we will do for your dog. Dry the corners, clean the bowl, quick relief first, the thing you can start tonight. Your cheap, safe wash is apple cider vinegar, the same jug from the grocery store, $2 or $3. Do not pour it on straight. Mix it down, about 1 part vinegar to 2 or 3 parts warm water, and that part matters, so remember it. After his bath, while he is still damp, sponge it over his coat or pour it slow and work it down to the skin with your hand, paying special mind to those spots I named, the neck, the armpits, the groin, the base of the tail. The reason it works is plain. The vinegar makes the skin surface too sour for the yeast to be comfortable, so it backs off. Let it sit a few minutes, and here is the part folks get wrong. You do not rinse it all off. You just towel him down. You want a little of that sourness to stay on the coat and keep working. 2 cautions on that rinse, and there is good sense in each. First, keep it out of his eyes. It will sting, so go around the face with a damp cloth. Second, and this matters more, do not use vinegar anywhere his skin is broken. If he has scratched himself raw, or there is an open sore, or the skin is red and weeping, vinegar on that will burn like fire, and he will not let you near the tub next time. On raw skin, leave the vinegar be, and if that raw spot is bad, that is a vet spot, and I will come to those in a minute. After the wash, the most important thing, and the cheapest, is drying. Get him dry, all the way dry, down in the folds, not just the top coat. Towel the armpits, lift the ears, and dry the flaps. Get a corner of the towel down between his toes. A dog left to air dry in his own damp folds grows the very smell you just washed off every single time. Warm months, out in the sun on the porch, which helps on its own. Winter, by the stove. Just get him dry. Then clean out the 2 or 3 spots that make the most smell, because a general wash does not always reach them. The ears first. If they smell sweet and yeasty and there is a little brown gunk in them, get a proper dog ear cleaner. A few dollars at the feed store or the pet shelf, and do not use plain water, because water just sits in the ear and grows more of what you are fighting. Squirt the cleaner in, rub the base of the ear until you hear it squish, Let him shake his head and wipe out the part you can see with a cotton pad. Never jam a swab down deep into the canal. Then the feet, and if you have ever noticed your dog's paws smell like corn chips, that is yeast, same thing, and a wipe down or a short soak of that same vinegar water and a good drying between the toes handles it. And the folds, wherever he has loose skin that stays warm, wipe them out and dry them. Now the smells that are not a home job. This is the part that matters most. If one ear or both is hot to the touch, swollen, painful when you go near it, packed with dark discharge, or if your dog starts tilting his head to one side or acting off balance or dizzy, that is not a smell you rinse away. That is an ear infection gone deep, and it needs a real animal doctor, because down inside there is where the eardrum and the balance live, and you can do harm poking at it. Go see the vet, and do not feel bad about it. That is not you failing, that is you knowing the line. If the smell coming off him is fishy, right off his back end, and he is scooting his rear across the floor, that is most likely his anal glands, which is a whole separate thing for another day. A little of that can be helped at home. But if that back end is swollen, or red and raw, or there is blood, or he cries when he sits, that is an abscess or an infection down there, and that is a vet trip, not a home trip. Do not squeeze at a swollen, painful bottom hoping it clears. And if you ever smell something truly rotten off your dog, a sweet, sickly, rotting smell, or a wound that is weeping and foul, or the smell comes on all of a sudden along with him going off his food and acting sick, do not wash that and hope. That can be a sign of something serious under the skin, and it wants a doctor that day. A bad smell is sometimes the only early warning a dog can give you, so when it comes with pain or sickness, listen to it. All right, everything so far cleans your dog up and knocks the smell down, but it will not stay gone on its own, because none of it touches what keeps feeding it. That is the second half, the one that actually ends this instead of chasing it every week for the rest of his life. It is the food. Remember, the yeast feeds from the inside on sugar and starch. So the real fix, the root of it, is to quit feeding it. That means moving him off the cheap, heavy, starchy food onto something with more real meat and far less filler. A fresher diet if you are set up for it, or just a better, meatier kibble with the corn and wheat and potato way down the ingredient list instead of up at the top. And it means cutting the sugary treats and the flavored biscuits, and yes, those dental sticks. You are starving the bloom out from the inside while the vinegar and the drying hold the outside. Think of a wood stove. You can keep sweeping the sparks off the floor all evening, or you can quit feeding the fire the dry kindling that keeps it roaring. The starchy food is the kindling. Now the catch, and it is a real one. This fix is not overnight. The wash and the drying, you will smell a difference in a few days. The food change takes weeks, 4 to 6 weeks to really turn, because you are waiting for his skin to grow out fresh and settle. So do not give up on it in 5 days. Give it a real month and a half, and the honest limit. For some dogs, this smell is driven by a true allergy to something in the food or the air, and if you do all this faithfully and he is still blooming and itching and miserable, that is a dog who needs a real vet to hunt the allergy down. For most dogs, the food change is the thing. Some need more help than a man over the fence can give, and I would rather tell you that than let you think you did it wrong. One thing that helps the food side along, cheap and worth it, is a good fish oil over his supper. It feeds his skin the right way from the inside, strengthens the barrier that keeps yeast in check, and calms the itch that rides along with all this. Size it to your dog, follow what the bottle says for his weight, and start small and work up, because too much too fast just gives him loose stools. Then a couple of easy add-ons that cost almost nothing. Wash his bedding hot once a week. That bed is soaked in the old grease and smell, and a clean dog laid back down on a stinky bed picks it right back up. You are reseeding him nightly. Same with a greasy old collar under his chin. Wash it or replace the cheap thing, and keep the drying up as a habit, not just on bath day. After a rain, after he wades the creek, after the snow, dry him down, the ears and feet and folds especially. A dry dog has nowhere to grow a smell. Now the reason nobody ever handed you that second half about the bowl. Follow the money and it is plain and it is a little sad. The whole shelf of dog perfume is a thing a store can ring up again every month. The cologne, the deodorizing spray, the $40 shampoo, the wipes. Drying your dog and changing his food is a thing nobody rings up at all. There is nothing on that shelf to sell you if the fix is to feed him plainer and towel him dry. So the shelf gets the advertising, and the plain cheap truth just slipped out of what everybody used to know. I do not think anybody sat in a room and schemed it. It is worse than a scheme because nobody had to coordinate a thing. It simply pays to sell you the mask, and it pays nothing to teach you the fix, and so here we are, a whole country of good people washing their dogs twice a week and wondering what they are missing. You are not doing anything wrong. You are just never told the other half. So let me gather it all up plain, the way I would if you were standing in my barn lot asking. The smell is not dirt, it is yeast, and it comes back after a bath because the bath never touched what feeds it. Quit overbathing, you are stripping his oils and making it worse. Skip the perfume and cologne, a mask is not a fix, and stay well away from straight essential oils, tea tree especially, because that stuff can poison him. For quick relief, an apple cider vinegar rinse cut with water, worked into the warm spots, left on and toweled down, kept out of his eyes and off any raw skin. Then dry him all the way, folds and ears and toes, because a damp dog grows the smell right back. Clean the ears with a real ear cleaner, not water, and wipe the feet and folds. Watch the line, a hot painful ear, or a head tilt, a swollen bloody back end, or a sudden rotten smell with sickness. Those go to the vet, and going is not failing. Then fix the root, get him off the heavy starchy food onto something meatier, cut the sugary treats, add a little fish oil, and give it a real month and a half. Wash the bed and the collar. That is the whole thing, and that is what I do for Bear. And that is what I want to leave you with, about Bear and about your dog. It does not matter how old and gray in the face your dog already is. That old dog lying there that you have half made peace with, the one you figured just smells that way now, like it comes with the years. It does not come with the years, and it is not who he is. It is fixable at any age, starting tonight with a jug of vinegar and a towel and a good look at his bag of food. He was never built to stink. He is not dirty, and you did not fail him. The plain old knowing of how to keep a dog sweet just got buried under a shelf of bottles, and now you have got it back. Before I let you go, tell me down below, what is the smell on your dog like, and what have you already tried and spent chasing it? The corn chip feet, the ears, the fishy back end, the whole dog funk, and what it has run you, because it helps me know what to sit down and cover next. And if you want more of the plain old ways of keeping a dog well, the cheap things that were ours long before the perfume shelf showed up, then subscribe and ride along. My whole aim on here is to hand these back, the ones that got buried under a wall of bottles. Next time I want to show you that fishy back end smell for real, the anal glands, what is going on down there, and the plain way to handle it. Give Bear a scratch for me and go dry your dog off.